Today's day 3 of MSI. Started 2 days ago. I think the biggest story, one of the biggest stories coming out of MSI, obviously, is the issue that G2 are not the same team they were. They're not the same team who won the EU LCS. This has been compounded by the fact that G2 Esports have released a statement and released that statement, timed it so that it was released as their third game was being played so their first game on the second day was being played, and it came out a little while. I don't know exactly how long, but it came out a little while before Riot did their feature on the hard-working ethic and the quality and excellence of G2 Esports, which was well done. That's not what my issue is with. If anyone follows my Twitter, I was a bit tilted yesterday yesterday night. For me, I'm in Australia, and it starts at 3:30 in the afternoon for me, which is great. If anyone watches my Twitter, I was pretty tilted last night, and it's for a couple of reasons. And it's all got to do with what the outcomes of that statement were, what the implications, rather, of that statement from G2 was. Let's just give it a little bit of context, because I don't want to come across as a super jaded and salty guy to start with. It's been 23 days since the end of the European LCS to MSI. So there's been 23 days for European teams, G2, to prepare for MSI. They probably throw on another 6 or 7 days for them to know that they were in the final and that MSI is the potential a potential goal, and then it's all hands on deck. Should be all hands on deck. G2's statement started by saying, they had some interesting points in there. Visas are tough to work out. You need time to work out visas and get all that paperwork in order. And I agree with that. I think that will be a really, really intense job, a tough job. But there were most of it, what was said in that statement, really got me offside, and it's for a couple of reasons. Let me just read to you a couple of the key statements for me that just tilt me off the face of the planet. Now, the first one is one that I guess it's neither here nor there. 10 hours a day, 6 days a week for 3 months. It was important for the mental state of our players for them to have a break. I think it is too. I mean, 10 hours a day for anyone is a fairly long day. For some people will tell you that that's a normal day. But I guarantee you those people who do that don't do it 6 days a week. So it can be pretty intense. For 3 months, I guess, a lot of us who don't work in esports do this with 4 weeks of holidays a year. So I guess my point is 10 hours a day for 6 days a week for 3 months is not something that I think warrants me feeling bad. This is the competitive environment you wanted to work in. When Ocelot has been in a professional team before. He saw things that he liked. He saw things that he didn't like. If he decided he wanted to work his players for 10 hours a day for 6 days a week for 3 months for them in the LCS, well, take everything that comes with it. That's the way it works. But if their players are tired, their players are tired. We will get to the role of a coach in a little while, but their players are tired, the players are tired. It's a concern that you need to be aware of and deal with when you come to it. So we will leave that for the time being. These next two statements, while they were made somewhat separately in the statement itself, equally tilted me so badly. I was really, really upset with this. So the first part of the statement was, Spending time practicing against challenger teams would have been detrimental towards our level of play, leading into the summer split and the ultimate challenge, the World Championships. The next part of the statement was, the quality of practice would not have done anything to help improve our play leading up to MSI and the level of the teams attending here. There are two important parts in there that I want to dissect here. Spending time practicing against challenger teams. Forget the fact that it's a challenger team. Spending time practicing. Any practice should be good practice. Now, if as a coach you think that this practice is going to be detrimental, then you are a shit coach, my friend. I'm sorry, but as a coach, if you have time to practice, you don't throw that away and go, nah, it's not going to be worth it. Fucking make it worth it. You're meant to be coaching an elite team. If you can't find an LCS or going to an MSI level team to practice against, find a challenger team to practice against. I'm sure you could. I don't think that's what the issue was. I'm sure they could have found a challenger team. If they couldn't get to China or Korea soon enough after the European finals to then get visas and all of their paperwork in place, find a solution. Don't excuse it by saying, oh, we needed to be concerned with the mental state of our players. Maybe you did, but then maybe that's an excuse as well. I don't know. I'm not saying it is. But my point is, you as a coach have a chance to practice with your team and you choose not to because it's not going to be good enough. Make it good enough. Give your team a horrible composition and make them come back from it. Put them into a deficit and build on team building characteristics or focus on a specific composition. Allow your players to practice champions in a composition against a composition that is going to counter it at every step of the way. Find something to do. You can't, as a coach, just turn around and say, no, this isn't going to be worth it. Well, challenger teams, they're not on our level. I'm sorry, you're only as good as your last game. You need to be humble at a time like this. You can't turn around and say, no, they are not on our level. We need to be playing Korean teams to get better. You're already good, mate. You are already at a level where you can compete at MSI. You don't need to continue to step it up. You need to consolidate what you have. G2 are a very solid team. They produce a lot of good play. That's why they won the EU LCS. They don't need to continue to improve. As a coach, you shouldn't be wanting to say, no, we need to adapt and change and this and that. Yeah, you do need to adapt and you do need to change a little bit. But the core of what you do is already there because you won the EU LCS. Find a team to practice against where you as a coach can get your players together and get something out of it. If you are getting nothing out of a practice, that means you are failing as a coach. I have experience, not in esports, but in physical sports and in my job as a teacher, as an educator of young people. Imagine if a teacher goes into a classroom and goes, nah, today, guys, there's not much for us to do today. Like, we're just going to sort of go outside and play all day. That's not okay. What if a high-level basketball team or a high-level football team or an NFL, any high-level sport team, they get to practice and go, right, guys, we got a little bit of time off between seasons, between championships, find a parallel between LCS and MSI. We're just not going to do anything, guys, because it's not going to really help us. You're fucking high if you think that's the case. A professional coach needs to find an opportunity to always find something to do when his team is together, especially leading into an international tournament where the entire league community is watching, where the only engagement that you've had to that previously is EU's better than NA, and lots of rhetoric on Reddit. As a coach, you need to find something to do. That is a responsibility that you have as a coach and that you have as an organization. If your practices are getting you nothing, you are failing. That's what tilts me so hard. Why is this allowed to happen? Well, this is not an excuse. G2 are not the first team to have a full schedule, to be busy and to be tired. Origen last year came from Challenger, won Challenger, went to EU Summer Split, won EU Summer Split, went to Worlds, got to semi-finals, then they went to IEM San Jose, then they went to the IEM Season 10 World Championships and then started spring this year. Now, time frames between those schedules are short. Some are a bit longer. Between Worlds and San Jose, and then San Jose to Season 10 IEM, and then from Season 10 IEM to Spring Split, yeah, okay, there's a bit more time than maybe 20, 23 days, 27 if you know you're in the final and a potential team to be able to make it through to the next stage. Let's say it's nearly a month, okay? Origen did it. G2 are not the first team to work hard. G2 are probably not the first team, the last team that this is going to happen to. I accept that Origen have a lot more players who have reasonable experience in the LCS, and they have players who have the mindset and their own personal systems to be able to support that level of commitment and that level of work. But it was a brand new team. They had come from Challenger, which apparently doesn't give you guys the good enough practice to be able to compete at MSI, whatever. They went to European Summer Split and won that. Then they went to Worlds and got to semis. Now, if managing the mental health of your players is an important thing, maybe that's something that G2 can take out of this. Because I think vacations are important. I think time away is important. I know that when I play my low-level League of Legends, because I'm not particularly great at mechanically playing the game, I know that when I play, if I don't play for a week and come back, your mind has time to settle, has time to think about what happened last time, think about what you're doing wrong, and you come back and you start doing things much, much better. I mean, I think that's it's like, well, not listening to music for ages. You don't listen to a song for ages. You come back to, you're like, oh damn, I love that song. That can be really, really important. But not when you're going to MSI to compete on the world stage for a potential world's seed. Find a way to make it work. That is your job as a coach. Yes, your players need to have their own time, but maybe instead of sending your players home and getting them out of that mindset, like they're young, these players, these professional league players, mostly are young people. They are young people who are not playing League of Legends because they have these mad, sick, awesome social skills and abilities and mental states to be able to cope with pressure, to be able to cope with hard work. I understand that that's a concern. I see that concern in my job all the time. I'm not saying this isn't a reasonable response, but you need to find a way. If they're such young people who have such a vulnerability in their mental state when they approach a game, perhaps you need to adjust your approach. And maybe, I hope that this is something that G2 can reflect on at least and turn around. If their players are being worked too hard during the season, they need to change something. They need to help support their players' mental states in a better way. Maybe instead of practicing for 10 hours a day, you do 8 hours a day and give them 2 hours of straight free time, or 2 hours of team bonding, or 2 hours of something that allows them to remove themselves from the game and then come back to it. But there have been so many mismanagements here from G2 that it's very embarrassing. Like, this is why it tilts me so much, because I don't think that this is something that, like, I'm just I don't know, man. This is just super frustrating. I see so many problems with what G2 are doing here. And I guess the biggest, like, there are two sort of really, really big issues that I take out of this. Not only are G2 representing Europe, right? Now, sure, they don't have to be like they don't have Europe's hopes on their shoulders, right? That's not what this is about. But they are representing Europe on the world stage. Whether you think that's G2's responsibility or not, it's not going to matter too much because they're on the world stage with the EU flag on their sleeve coming from the EU LCS, lots of hype around them. They've got that responsibility, whether they like it or not, or whether you agree with it or not. But what's more concerning is what does this say for the whole organization? Sure, they won the EU LCS. Congratulations. You just played really well. You just were unstoppable. Great. But this is some simple decision making and problem solving that a coach needs to be a part of and that an organization needs to help manage. And it doesn't seem to be. You look at the quality of the decision and you look at what flows on from that. And I see a lot of problems. If they're making a big decision like this and it's backfired so badly, like did they think that it was not going to backfire? Did they think that, oh, if we have a vacation, we haven't played together in, let's say 20 days, sure, you get to play solo queue, but that, pros will tell you all the time, and people in the scene will tell you all the time, solo queue is nothing like the LCS. It's nothing like having a communicative team who have systems, who have champions, who have pocket picks, who have all of this stuff that they like to do as a team. Doesn't work in solo queue. So sure, you've kept up your own personal mechanics, and sure, you've kept up your own little skills and expanded champion pools or learned new skills or this or that. But playing as a team is very, very different. You don't waste opportunities to practice as a team, to go onto an international stage at an international tournament from a vacation. This is not helping the mental state of your players. So I think coaching failures and organizational failures here have been absolutely disgraceful. Now, this is just my personal opinion. I'm no one in League of Legends. I'm no one in the LCS. No, not very many people. No one really is going to know who I am and what qualifications do I have to talk about this. I'm talking about this from an outsider with experience working with young people, as an outsider who has worked in an environment where you're looking to help advance young people and grow young people and find success in young people. I'm looking at this and going, this is all wrong. There has been no good decisions made here apart from the mental welfare of their players. There have been no good decisions made here. And it's not helping those players by giving them a vacation leading into MSI. You should be boot camping harder. Every other team's boot camped really hard. Every other team has tried to make something out of their practice for MSI. And this team has just gone, we don't need to do that. We're not going to worry about that. We need our mental health to be in a better place. I agree that's important, but this was not the way to do it. I'm not going to continue to hate on G2. I seriously, seriously hope that they learn something from this as an organization. Better manage yourselves. Other teams have done it in the past. You are in the chart. You have the responsibility of young people in your power. You need to take better care of them. Perks is 17 years old? Do you think he can deal with this hate from Reddit or this hate on G2 very easily? No. I guarantee you it is going to affect him. It may not have affected him now, and he may have the confidence to brush a lot of it off, but this is going to come back. No 17-year-old should have to deal with this. He's not going to appreciate it. This is not going to help the performance of the team leading into the future. The season doesn't stop at MSI. Work hard to the end of LCS. Work hard into MSI. Then have a break and come into summer split a little bit behind. Because you have more time to bridge that gap. You have more time to relax and reflect and look back and get your players back into a frame of mind where they want to work hard in League of Legends, where they want to practice hard, where they want to work on things. Do it in some split where you have more time, not an MSI where it goes for 2 weeks, double round robin. The whole world is watching and you just embarrass the crap out of yourself and all of your players. I don't know, man. I just looking at kills, right? G2 have given up 83 kills. They've given up 83 deaths. They've only taken, they're lucky to have taken 20 kills on oppositions. Now, excuses, we played SKT, they played RNG, they didn't practice like that. This doesn't matter. You've given up really, really poor performances, and it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. It's super embarrassing. As an organization, as a coach, you need to plan everything better. You need to organize your time better. You need to be considerate of more things. Like I said, I want to finish on this note. I want to finish on the note that I hope that G2 really, really do learn something out of this. I hope that they turn around and look at next split, because MSI is out the window now. I hope they look at next split and turn around and say, right, we've got to manage practice better. We've got to manage vacation better. We've got to give more support to our players for mental health. We've got to build up a work ethic. We've got to have more structure. We've got to improve on what we're doing. Because what we did, sure, we won summer split, spring split of the EU LCS, but we didn't get much further than that, did we? And that's not what we want. So I really, really do hope they learn something. And I hope that they look out for the mental health of their players as a result of these unfortunate poor decisions, because it's going to affect them. We may not see it, we may not know about it, but I guarantee you when those players go to sleep at night, they're thinking about all the shit people are putting on them. The shit's not right. That's not very nice, but it's a reality of the situation. As is working hard for an entire year. This has been op-ed number 2. My name is Volsig. Thank you for watching, guys. Catch me on Twitter at I am Volsig. I will put the box with my name on this side. And thanks heaps for watching, and I will catch you later.